So, hi guys. In this video, we are going to discuss about Java 8 Stream APIs, right? And top interview questions for Java 8 Stream APIs for Java developers, right? The core concept of a Java 8 Stream APIs, right? In with respect to, or maybe if you are concerning about the interview purpose. And also we will understand that what are the most important operations, right? So there are some, you can say intermediate operations, there are terminal operations. But before that, we will going to learn why we are using and they have introduced the Java 8 Stream APIs. The purpose of Java 8 Stream APIs is, right, rather than to process and write our own logic to process a data, right, which you are storing any, you can say collections here, right, if you are storing into a file or if you are storing into arrays also, right. So rather than you are writing your own logic process, let's say if you wanted to find one of that employee, right, with the name which you have, maintaining the list of employees and finding out the name, so you need to check for that, process that entire list, and then you need to search it, right. If you wanted to find one of the employee which is has a highest salary, so then again you need to write the code for iterator, and then you need to check the logic for each and every employee object, get the salary and check it, and then you need to compare something like that, right. So that is something you need to write. But Stream APIs, which is Java has launched, they are saying rather than to you write a code, we will provide a ready-made APIs. Correct. So there are like a ready-made aggregate functions, mean, max, average, sum, this kind which we are already using in SQL. These same kind of function is also available to us. Another thing is that you don't need to store any data, right? So the data is stored into one of the source. So the source, maybe it could be a file, it could be any other collection. Maybe you can say for map, list, set, right, or file, or maybe if you are using in arrays also. So then it is not touching to a source, and it is just calculating and doing a massaging on the data, right, on this collection and generating a result on the fly. So no storage. So Stream do not store any data. They just convey the elements from the data source, right? So you will get the ready-made result here. Functional in nature, right? It is basically supporting for functional programming and with the help of lambda expression, right? Another third thing is that laziness. So laziness is means the stream operations are lazy. Computation will be performed when you are calling any. It is a necessary means whenever you are calling a terminal operations. So this computation will be performed, right, when you are calling a terminal operations, actually when you are necessary, when you have a necessity for that, correct. So till that time you are not have any necessity for that entire result, this entire operations will not be getting called, means that is called as a laziness of the operation here. So if you will see later in this particularly a diagram here, there is a source. You will create a stream. There are, and you can also create a pipeline of the operation. So operation one, operation two, operation three. So first, let's say if you wanted to do a filter, then you wanted to do map. If you wanted to do like this, right? If you wanted to make a filter, then if you wanted to convert that each and every object into something else, then you want to collect the result. सो वन ऑपरेशन देन अनदर ऑपरेशन देन अनदर, तो आप एक मल्टीपल ऑपरेशंस को एक पाइपलाइन में सेट करके कर सकते हो. अब नॉर्मली ये पाइपलाइन का कॉन्सेप्ट वी हैव आल्सो यूज्ड इनटू स्ट्रिंग आल्सो. मतलब जब स्ट्रिंग में आप परफॉर्म करते हो तो एक ऑपरेशन आपने कॉल किया, लेट से कि फाइंड सब स्ट्रिंग, देन फिर यू कैन से कि डॉट टू अपर केस डॉट समथिंग. तो उस तरीके से एक पाइपलाइन ऑपरेशन होते हैं, स्ट्रिंग में भी होते हैं. उसी तरीके से वी आल्सो डू अ पाइपलाइन ऑपरेशन, मतलब मल्टीपल ऑपरेशन आप वन शॉट में लिख सकते हो, करेक्ट. टर्मिनल ऑपरेशंस, यहाँ पर एक ये टर्मिनल ऑपरेशंस है. टर्मिनल ऑपरेशंस, इंटरमीडिएट ऑपरेशंस और टर्मिनल ऑपरेशंस. टर्मिनल ऑपरेशंस आर दैट विच इज जनरेटिंग अ रिजल्ट. तो जो अब रिजल्ट जनरेट करते हैं, राइट, उसके बाद आप कोई और ऑपरेशन उस पर नहीं क्रिएट कर पाओगे. इंटरमीडिएट ऑपरेशंस जो रिटर्न करते हैं वो स्ट्रीम ही रिटर्न करते हैं, करेक्ट. और स्ट्रीम रिटर्न करने के बाद में आप उसके ऊपर वापस अनदर ऑपरेशन कॉल कर सकते हो, इसीलिए हम उसको पाइपलाइन में कॉल करते हैं, करेक्ट. तो इस तरीके से अब टू टाइप्स के स्ट्रीम्स होती है. वन इज फॉर पैरेलल स्ट्रीम, राइट, एंड इज अ सिंपल स्ट्रीम विच इज कॉल्ड एज अ sequential stream, right. It can also be executed into a parallel mode, right. So like this for improving the performance as well. So that is what we can call as for a parallel stream. right? So there are a different kind of intermediate operations and terminal operations. Intermediate operations like filter, map, sorted, map, like this. There are many other operations, right? For each, collect, reduce, right? anyMatch, allMatch, these kind of an operations are nothing but the terminal operations, which is generating a result, correct? So we will see how these operations are working for us and how it is really going to help. And then we will see some of the different interview questions, why and how it will help to us, correct? So I will open my uh, Eclipse, and Eclipse, you will find out that how we can write some of the code in here. So if you will see the Eclipse, right? In this Eclipse, majorly, I will remove the, correct. Here, I have already created some sample code, right? And maybe I will help it to you also so that you can also see. So now, let's say if you wanted to do a sorting, so first let's start for that how we can create a stream, right? So first thing is that what are the different type of streams, right? What are the different type of the operations, intermediate and terminal operations? What is the purpose and why we are saying terminal, why we are saying intermediate operations, right? So these type of questions you can understand, right? Why we are saying parallel stream, correct? Then what are the different operations? And generally you will have some coding questions also from the stream APIs, correct? So the first question we will say, right, if you have any other object, let's say there is a custom object, something called as a customer. So when you have a customer object and you are storing into a list, and this object particularly having a name, ID, salary, something like that, correct? So in that scenario, this customer object, right, which we are having it, so let me open that customer. So this customer field, I have a salary, name, age, and city, correct? And this particularly, these are the parameters for a customer. So you can, if I wanted to sort based on the age, based on the salary, right? As of now, age I don't have, but let's say if I wanted to sort based on the salary, or if I will add that one more field here, right? Let's say for private int age, correct? So as of now, total how many fields we have? So these three, and there are two more fields, salary and email, correct? So we will see many such operations. I will create a segregator also for this. So total we have 5 fields, and you can come as a source and you can say generate a segregator. So we have already covered that one of that scenario or a session where we discuss about that immutable objects, how to create and why we are not having a setter methods into immutable objects, correct? So, and why we are initializing through a constructor, correct? So what is the purpose? So these kind of questions also we have because we don't want it to give any other, you can say other flow or someone else to change the state of an object, right? So if it is getting constructed during through the constructor, right, means these values are getting set and these are the private uh, variables. Another thing is that there is a no such public method which is accessible outside of this class here, correct? So that is also very much important. Another, you can say interview questions, you can take it as is equal to age. Okay. Now, once you have created, I guess, this list operations, I will, okay. So I will add the age also here. Something which let's say it's for 28. Here, the age is something we can call as 32. Okay. Now I have created a list of the customer here. This is the one of the array list, and I have added a two customer, Joy and James. The email and salary, city, and like this. So if I wanted to, what I am doing it here, I am sorting particularly this entire list based on the salary. So how I can say? I can say comparator dot comparing int, correct? So you can use a sorted method, right? How to create an stream? First, let's say if you wanted to just create an stream, the simple operation is customer, right? And first list dot stream, right? Like this, you can create an stream. Okay? And it is a type of java.util.stream. Now on this stream, you can execute that operation here, correct? So these are the pipeline operations. Means first you have called that stream, created a stream, then you have called sorted, then you have called as a collect operation. So in this collect, what we are doing, it is a terminal operation and we are using a collector, and we are storing again this list processing into a to list here. So you can have a different type of collectors as well, right? So like this, you can write it, and it is returning also into a one of that list here. Thus, so list, and what we are saying here, customer, right? And sorted list. Okay. So this to list will returning a type of, you can say, list, which is type of the customer only, right? And this sorted list. Okay, like this. So there is a one way to sort based on that, what we can say, based on the salary. Another way, you can use a lambda expression. So you can pass these two parameters and you can compare, use the compare to, and then you can use it. So first thing is that using a comparator, another you can use the what we can say, the lambda expression. This way you can use a sorting for uh, into a list here. That is one of that scenario here. Another scenario, if you wanted to just see, so if just wanted to print it something like that, so you can print it using the method reference also. You can use also print using the basically for each as well, correct? So this sorted list dot for each, correct? Here you can print first, right? And here you can say system dot println, right? First dot get cell. Okay. Like this, you can use a Java application. Okay. So you will see 12,000 and 15,000. Correct. Like this. So this is into an ascending order. If you wanted to go with the descending order, you can also go with the descending order, right? So then also there is a method called as the reverse. And if you will also change it here from C2 to C1 like this, you can compare and you can do into a, here is also you can use it list. Okay. Like this. So then here, correct, run as a Java application, correct. So here you will see we are just using comparing into a descending order. But if I will just change it to a, what we can say, C2, C1. So you can just see how it happens here, right? Like this you can have, and here I guess you have a method called as a reverse as well. Um, so that is, we need to check it out. So like this, you can do the sorting. So sorting is one of the important question, but also you can do a filter operation. So if I'm saying I need all the customers, which is belongs to only for Mumbai, right? Or maybe only for, you can say any other city. So I can also use a filter operation. Now, and filter operation is taking basically, right, as a predicate. For each is, now you need to understand that there is a some functional, you can say, uh, interfaces, as well as you also need to understand that what are the different functions is, uh, like a predicate, right? Supplier, consumer. So filter is taking as a something we can call as that predicate, which is taking exactly one input and giving a one output. For each is nothing but that it is a consumer, right? So it is not returning anything, it consumes only, right? There is a supplier, right? So that is particularly you need to understand what is that consumer, right? Consumer is taking one input, no reply, no return, right? Suppliers, which is returning something but not taking any input, like this. So you will have these three four types of you can say functions. That is also you need to understand it. So in that scenario, how you can filter it out? So like this, right? Here you can say cust dot get city dot equals. So it is nothing but that simple uh, string methods, because get city is nothing but your string methods. So you can take it as like that. Here you can call as for Mumbai. Okay. Dot filter. Now just a minute, guys. What is the error here? Oh, okay, okay. Yes. Okay. So first we have done the filter operation. In this filter operation is nothing but we have used that what we can say. First we have done the filter, right? All these customers which is belongs to Mumbai, and then we are doing a sorting here. Correct? Like this also you can do it. So this is one of the scenario, right? If you wanted to do a something, let's say calculate the total salary paid to all the employees to a Mumbai, correct? So then also you can use, there is some other operations which is you are talking about, which we can say for summing up all these what we can say group by, and that summing up all these salary for that particular customers here, right? So let's take up and some other examples as well, right? So here we have a maximum list of operations which is very frequently asked questions also, and you will also see how these operations are working here. So again, I'm just adding it here, 12,000 and then 15,000, right? Now, so we have seen first thing is that if you wanted to take a count here, so if you wanted to just take a count, right? Count will give that complete count here. It is returning a long here. So you can also say long count. So count is also a terminal operation, right? It is returning a result. So we are doing that all the employees which is having a name as a Roy, how many employees are there? Let's say count. Now, if you wanted to find use that something we can call. So here now we are what we are doing it. We are creating the stream onto a set here. So I have created one of the hash set, right? So as that hash set which we have created, and we are processing the operation here. Correct. So in that scenario, what we are doing, this is a count here. Now, another thing is that if you wanted to have any match here, dot stream, right? Then dot all match or any match. So if you are all match means all these parameters match to all elements here, then you can use as a all match. If it is an any match means one of that condition is satisfied here. It is also taking as a predicate here. Correct. So all match is, let's say if you are saying cust here And then in that scenario, in cust, what we are doing it, cust dot get name, and get name is again we are saying is a Roy. So you also need to understand there is a one scenario, right? Get name dot equals, right? And then here you can specify the scenario here. So the difference between it is allMatch is a terminal operation. Filter is not the terminal operation, right? It is returning true or false, correct? So it is basically will say the Boolean true or false. So status, let's say, or maybe we can say is exist, right? Means allMatch means all these lists in this list, the name is everybody should have the name as a Roy, right? And it is we are not saying equals ignore case. It will check for your capital letter as well. So the value will be always false because there is a not all this one customer has a name as a Joy and another has a Roy here like this, correct? So like this there is allMatch anyMatch. anyMatch means one of that customer's name is matching, then it can return and you can get it, correct? Now, if you wanted to get all the salary of, you can say count of the salary. So you can use a collectors dot summing int and you can specify what we can say for a particularly total salary, right? Which is paid to all the, you can say customers or maybe employees or like this, correct? So it will return that total salary. So you can use a collectors dot summing int, right? You can also, if you wanted to get that average salary, then you can use that average, correct? Like this, you can use a something we can specify a average sum. You can also get that max mean as well, right? This is the way you can check it rather than, because if you will not writing, then you need to write a iterator and then you need to process the logic like this. So you need to specify all the logic here and then you need to do if you are not using these kind of an operators, correct? Then if you wanted to basically collect that, what we can say group by and having, so all these something we can call as all the customers, right, which is having belongs to a Mumbai. So number of customers belongs to a particularly city as a Mumbai. In that scenario, you can create that scheme and you can say collect and collectors dot group by and you can say you can pass two parameters. First thing is that this group by is very much important, right? So you are grouping by based on the city. So what is the city? Let's say if you have a city as a Mumbai, how many customers are there? Let's say Hyderabad, how many are there? So you will return the map. This map will return the city and that count. So like this, you can get it. This is one of the very important question as a group by, correct? That is you need to sorted. We have also seen that sorted, how you can do the sorting. Sorting is very much important. You need to look for it carefully, correct? So sorting we have specifically you can look for it, correct? If you wanted to also get that complete string and the list, so you can also get that group by. If you are not passing a second parameter is a counting or something like that, you can also group by the name. So what is it is returning here the name and then total list of the customers. So based on the name it will group by here, correct? So whenever you have there is a different particularly a customers here, based on the name it will be grouping by here, okay? So this way you can see that completely group by and what we can say the list here. So this is the way you can just see and you can just check for it. Exactly is grouping Y, correct? So average summing, right? If you have just taken as a sum, right? If you wanted to take a map here. So in that scenario, what is this is the something we can call as if you wanted to find out any other mean and max. right? If you wanted to find out the max element from this list. So as I also told you, right, you can also create uh, the stream. You can create a simple stream as a, you can say, empty stream, or maybe a double stream also you can create it. But you can also create, you can just use arrays as a list, and you can, from this list you can create a stream, and then you can find out the mean, and you can compare. So like this you will get that maximum number, right? And it is returning as a optional. So it can be also asked, what is the use of you can say optional, right? So generally, if you don't want it to go ahead with any particularly to ignore that null pointers, right? And in that scenario, so there will not be any such scenario to getting that null pointer if you are using an optional class which is provided into an stream 8 Java 8 APIs here, right? So optional is very important. You can also read about some documentation which is may or may not contains a non-null value, right? If the value present is present with true, right? If no value present, the object is considered as a empty and written as a false, right? So that is what you can just take it at, right? So particularly if you are talking about for so it's a primarily intended to use for a method return type where there is a clear need to represent as a no result, right? And where using a null is likely to cause an error, correct? So in that scenario, sometimes you are returning as a null, right? And then there is a no such results. In that scenario, you will use that optional class to ignore that null pointer exceptions, right? So that is the purpose. This optional, what is the purpose? How you will use it? So optional is also, you can just look for it apart from your, what we can say, using as a mean and max, correct? So these are some of the scenarios. You can also use, let's say if you wanted to take up creating a map. So there is a flat map and map. There is a two more operations, right? So if you have a multiple list, you have into a case, so you can merge this list and create a one single list. That is the use case of a flat map, right? Working on the particularly a multiple you can say operations. Now here we can just also see for, so we have seen that collectors, right? We have seen collector two list, right? Group by, you can also see a mean, max, summing, average. We have seen the filter, we have seen all match, right? We can also see one more operations here. If you wanted to make some kind of print something that numbers, so here in this list also, if you wanted to get the numbers into as an square, so what you can do, you will do something like that, square numbers, right? So I'm just saying square numbers. So here numbers dot stream dot map, then here you can specify a num multiplied by num, correct? Dot collect, then collectors dot to list. So here you can also take it into a to list, to map, a set, or whatever you wanted to take it up, correct? So unmodifiable map, unmodifiable set also, that is we have also discussed into some other session here, right? When we are talking about that immutable objects, or you can say immutable objects basically, or immutable collections. So maybe you can look for that other session for immutable collections, how to create it. So to list, correct? Like this. So what it will print it, it will have that 100, 25, 25 multiplied 25 years something, you can, I guess, is 625 somewhere, right? 15 multiplied 225, 330, 30, 900, 4, 18 multiplied by 18, that kind of a numbers you will, it will be storing it. But in same scenario, you can also have a, if you just wanted to create a name of the list rather than to completely the object here. So you can also use a map operation, something like that, correct? So for this customer set here, right? If you just wanted to using a map operation for what you can say, dot stream dot map. So what I'm saying it here, in that scenario, cust, right? Get name. So we are creating another list, right? Which is containing only for name of that these customers, right? So I don't want it to get that all the parameters, right? Like this, you can use a like this. So in that scenario, we are mapping with this object into, it will return what? It will return the list of string, correct? Then cust names. So this way you can see these cust names are what? Exactly the name of all the customers, right? So this way also you can use the map if you wanted to map it, right? So we have seen that particularly how you can use that, right? How you can do the sum. Then you can also use something we can call as map. You need to create a multiple list and then you can use a flat map, right? So there will be a combining, you can see how you can combine that multiple list and then you can process. Then we can use that flat map operation, right? So flat map operation and map operations are very much important, right? Then apart from that, we have seen these many sorting we have seen, which is very important, filter, correct, terminal operations, allMatch, anyMatch, that is we have seen it, correct. And also we have seen if you wanted to use the group by operations, how you can use the group by and you can get the result here. This is very much important. So these are some certain interview questions which you need to understand, because these are one liner, very straightforward questions, and that is you need to write it, correct. When we are talking about creating a, if you wanted to create a parallel stream, so rather than to stream, you can also create a parallel stream. So parallel stream here, rather than to create a stream here. So any point of time, if you wanted to create parallel stream, right? So you can also say, right, customer P dot balanced. ठीक है, like this. Okay, so it is basically parallel stream. In parallel stream also you will call all the operations same the way we are doing it, right? Parallel stream, right? So in that scenario, it will basically work into a parallel mode here, right? So that is which we can say, and then you need to understand what is the difference between parallel stream and the stream, correct? And this is another question here, correct? So optional we have covered here. Apart from that, we have covered what we can say all other most important operations which you need it in terms of what we can call as far as the interview is question concern here, right? So Java 8 most important frequently asked questions you can consider as, so you can also think like Java 8 stream APIs tutorials you can consider as, or maybe frequently asked questions you can. So majorly how you can do the sorting based on the different parameters, right? As of now we have done based on the age, based on the salary also. So these are the things maybe frequently asked questions when we are talking about as a 2 to 8 years, 2 to 9 years developers basically.